G'day, I'm AJ, and thanks for your interest in understanding more about the program, which is all about moving your managers to become better leaders in a really fast track way. This is specifically for government or large corporates, and I want to just give you really quickly some of the program details so you know whether this is a good fit for you or not. So here are all the deets. Really, the focus is simple: up leveling your managers, and that can be from 5 to 20 leaders at one time that we can work with. And it's like helping you not have to micromanage your leaders so much. It's helping them remove some of the blockers and barriers. It's helping you write out any restructures that might be going on and getting your focus back so that you can be in control of doing your strategic work while your managers step up and really start leading and managing their teams in a way that takes away some of that frustration of you needing to be a revolving door and get involved in the weeds. So the aim is to get your managers to learn, understand, and practice some of the core leadership competencies that they need that will shift their heads out of just being in the doing all the time to actually leading their people. I will give them everything that they need to make that happen and nothing that they don't need. There's no blindfold trust exercises. It's not a kumbaya session. There's no need to wait years for your leaders to finally get it. Through this program, they're going to make shift happen. I have literally trained thousands of leaders this way, and they all tell me that they love it, that they love that it's really practical. They love that I have practical experience in government, over 15 years myself in government leadership, and they love that I can fully relate to the challenges that they face day to day. I am sick and tired of hearing people talk about lazy government employees, and I know that's not the truth. I know that every government agency I've ever worked with, they are super committed people who do fantastic work. And what you need is just your managers to step up that bit so that they're no longer stuck in the weeds. They're no longer coming to you to problem solve, but instead they're truly beginning to lead. I just ran a 3-day workshop this week for 30 state leaders, and they all said it was the best, most practical and relevant training that they've ever done in this leadership space. So let's just, I guess, chunk down into what I'm going to help them with. I'm going to help them solve their 3 biggest problems that I see them doing over and over again from growing their leadership competency. And the first one is self-doubt. So it's a biggie and we need to crack it. You may not think that this is so relevant to leadership competency, but it's actually what holds most government leaders and managers back from stepping up, is this lack of confidence and self-doubt. So people just don't believe that they can do it, and they haven't quite gotten into the right mindset for what a leader needs to be. So many government leaders I see today and managers have worked their way up through the ranks. They might have started in an officer role or some kind of specialist technical role, and they've proven their worth over and over in those roles, right? So they've been really good at that. They might have earned a couple of pay rises, they might have gone up a couple of bands or levels, but they haven't yet truly believed in themselves in order to take the next leap. So the government environment is part of the problem here. It can often hold people back from truly backing themselves because, let's face it, in government, it can be an environment where it's scary to fail. You know, even the smallest slip-ups when we're in government can have major consequences and also can be very public. You know, you're dealing with things that are often in the public sphere. And so what happens is I see lots of managers actually become a little bit passive. They don't learn to fail fast, fail forward, because they're not willing to make a lot of mistakes in order to learn and try, because they're worried about the consequences. And so in some ways, the government environment can sometimes keep managers small, where they're not really stepping up and leading boldly. So you might have promoted some people to a supervisory position. You might have given people an opportunity to step into a middle management role, but you're still going, I haven't really seen them step up. And this can be part of the problem. What might be happening is you're seeing them still stuck in the weeds. They might keep turning back and going on the tools again. You know, they want to just do what they've always done, and they think they just have to do more. They might be hiding out with their team, and they could be afraid to lead more boldly. So you might be thinking my requests for them to step up have fallen on deaf ears. And that might be because they're still not sure they can actually do it. They don't yet have proof enough in themselves to actually have the power of their own conviction. So the result is that when leaders aren't confident, they become even apologetic. They're the ones that end up working longer hours. They stay back. They don't delegate enough. And you keep saying to them, use your people, go to your team, and they don't. And so then their team is not achieving the productivity that it could, right? Because they've not shifted their head into that leadership mode. So to solve this, we actually start building their understanding of what that shift from manager to leader looks like. We talk about the mindset shift that needs to happen for that to happen. We help them believe in themselves more by understanding their strengths and what they bring to the table, who they really are. And we help them commit to owning that, so that in order to become more accountable and step up as a leader, they truly know what they bring to the table and how to do that. So we really help them make that shift, that this is not just about becoming a better technical expert. That doesn't count when you need them to lead a team. So we help them find those natural strengths, take ownership of them. We help them identify what do their team actually need from them so that they can commit to those leadership behaviors. So once we start getting them into a space where they have more confidence, they're more likely to have conversations with you. They're more likely to challenge you. So be prepared for that. Their peers and the people and the stakeholders that they work with start to see that confidence, and it helps them feel confident in them. So it builds a reciprocity of trust that is so super valuable and so needed in the government today. So whether it's you, another head of department, maybe they've got to talk to the chief of staff in the minister's office, or someone outside your organization in the industry or stakeholders that you work with, they're going to perceive your leaders as far more competent when they come across as confident, right? And we're not about building cocky leaders. It's not about people who have bravado and no substance. These are people who already have substance. We just help them learn how to communicate, to engage, to have the energy of a confident leader, the mindset that they bring to what they do. So that's the first problem that we aim to solve. The second one is we need to solve that your managers are probably wasting at least, if not more, 4 hours every day. And they're usually working at least 2 to 4 hours at night to get on top of their calendars and their to-do lists. So too many middle managers, as we see it, have no real focus. They have no real prioritization method. They've just got this list that just keeps getting longer and longer. And so they start to spin their wheels at the mercy of the inbox and all the other departments and whoever else is demanding their time and energy. So in this 3-day workshop, we're going to implement a simple, clear plan for them to build their personal leadership competence. And this is around their planning, their strategy, and how they prioritize their work. They're never going to say to you again, I don't have time to get it all done. And I get it. Government is busy with many, many different moving parts. It's complex, but they can't use the excuse of I don't have time once they've been through this program, because I'm going to be real with you. The magic is in their ability to review their tasks, because they're going to have a lot, but to look at them with a strategic leadership eye, and then build simple daily habits that are going to help them continually review that list and prioritize it, so you can have confidence that they're working on what matters most, that they're working on things that are going to strategically move your department and its deliverables and its outcomes forward, not just getting caught in the weeds, majoring in minor things and doing busyness. Okay. So this program aims to help them claw back 5 to 7 hours a week so that they've got more time to implement the important things, so that they do things that actually pay dividends and start to help you get the results that you want to get from your whole division or department. It's going to take about an hour or so during the program for them to implement this plan, but I promise you, if they stick to it, it will be worth it. And sure, meetings come up, priorities change, governments change, ministers always throw in last minute curveballs and want something, immediately. The media can bring up things and you have to respond quickly. So I get it. We can't schedule our whole week, but they'll get 80% of the way there so that they only need to spend maybe 10 minutes at a time tweaking their daily schedule, and it will save them hours of time in spinning their wheels and majoring in those minor things. So after that, we need to support them to up-level how they actually work with their team and how to build trust in order to get more productivity, to get the commitment of their people, and to get that flow through their team, right? We want them to be using their team as their workforce to get the bulk of the work done. And the reality is, it only takes a few key tasks and levers that really move the needle. So once we help them identify what those things are that matter most and how they can engage and equip their team to deliver, we'll start to see those key things move forward. And that's when you start to see the traction that your middle managers are getting. And finally, we help them get sorted in giving effective feedback. It kind of comes back to that competence thing, that what I see is often managers and leaders are just not giving good enough feedback. The context is not quite right and it's not frequent enough. So I'm going to help them get that relevant feedback so they know exactly what to say to their team, when to say it, how often. There'll be cheat sheets, easy guides, scripts for them to learn, right? Things that just help them perceive and understand how they need to act in your environment so that the whole team starts getting traction, right? We want momentum. We don't want time wasted dithering around the edges, wondering what we need to do. We want their teams to have absolute clarity as well. And so how they give feedback, how they relate, how they work with their staff is going to help them get there. We want it to be sustainable, not just a one time that they do this one-off planning day and then the rest of the year no one knows what to do. Long-term consistency here is what matters, right? And it takes time for humans to trust each other. And so feedback is one of those ways that we help leaders build trusting, collaborative environments where all of their people start to step up and become high performers as well. The third problem that this program helps solve is building up your leaders' reputation and credibility through how they lead their team and how they contribute across the organization. So we'll get them thinking about how to work better with their peers and other departments, how they and their team can form better collaborative, constructive working relationships. Because let's face it, what often happens in government is a lot of silos, everyone doing their own thing, spinning their own little plates. And when they come together, they clash because the timelines don't work and there's not trust there. So what we're going to do is help those leaders and managers identify how they can build these trusting relationships across the agency, within other departments, and also maybe interagency as well, if you've got other programs and things working across different departments. This also will help those leaders have that broader strategic perspective and context, which is often what's missing. Often they're so narrow on just their field that they forget and they have their blinkers on and don't see, how do I need to work with other departments? So this is going to help them regularly bounce off ideas, problem solve, and work towards best outcomes for the public, for the people you serve, knowing all of this context. So what we find is these managers and leaders are often holding back, and they can often be quite lonely if they're only focused in their own lane. And we want them sure to be moving in their own lane, but they have to understand, what are the other departments working on? This can be their peers, it could be agencies, it could be industry bodies, other stakeholders. We want them to have strong webs of connection and build trust across and outside of just their team, because ultimately this helps with speed and effectiveness of all of the projects that they deliver. They don't waste time making mistakes and things that could have been overseen, and that could have been foreshadowed, that could have been steered off and nipped in the bud because of strong relationships. So after this, we will look at the skills that they need to lead their own team. their people and how they need to help their people step up as well through that feedback we talked about before, but also through some really important coaching skills and building that bedrock and foundation of trust. So we will help them learn how to establish trust with their team and the specific actions they can take in order to build accountability, commitment, and therefore high performance. Then finally, through these coaching skills, and I have to say, for all of my work with thousands of leaders, coaching is the number one skill that I really see takes a manager's game to the next level and that really helps build high performing teams. It's the one skill that I say they must learn. And so we spend quite a bit of time on day 2 all around their ability to coach and develop their people, whether it is a lagging performer, someone that they need to build up and bring online, whether it's a brand new employee that's going to need quite a bit of support in order to get up to speed, or whether it's a highly skilled, already really good performing team member. How do they keep those people engaged? It's going to help with your employee engagement, PMES results, because actually coaching is probably one of the biggest things that moves those engagement results forward. So over time, we're going to show them how to take a coach approach, how to have coaching moments, see their whole team, and support them individually so that the whole team starts to up level. Okay, so that's a bit of an overview. It was a lot of information, and it's also here in writing if you need to digest it later. And I know what you're probably thinking. You're probably thinking, AJ, this sounds too good to be true. What's the catch? And I'm going to be real with you. You know, no program, course, thing that people go to is going to be a silver bullet and is going to fix things overnight. And this is not one of those love-ins. It's not like once they've gone through all the modules, they're going to immediately drop their old habits and start being amazing leaders from the very next week. It's going to take a little bit of support from you to make it really embed and to help them continue to up level. So you might need to take a bit of an interest in what they've learned, to ask them questions, to coach them yourself, to support their learning and embedding, to remind them when they're starting to get down in the weeds again, what do they need to do to step up to that more strategic level. So initially, they're going to still be bringing problems to you and asking for support. It's not going to be fixed overnight, right? But they're going to have a real awareness when they do that. If you question it, oh, yep, I'm in that mindset of doing, not actually being a leader again. So I can promise you, the longer they practice and apply what they'll learn in this 3-day program, they will start to implement, and you will start to see more strategic shifts happening, right? And the quicker they'll build their confidence, their competence, and they'll be committed to their growth, the faster you're going to see the shift happen, right? So the big catch here is testing, retesting, embedding skills over time, that it's not an instant skill set, that it does take applying it in the workplace over and over and over for them to really build the muscle of becoming a great leader. But the reality is, you may not have 2 or 3 years to get your people up to speed. If you've got big projects looming, if there are restructures on the horizon, if you have stakeholder needs that are increasing, and there's that continued pressure to rationalize and do more with less, then this is going to be a real help. You need to help your managers and middle managers, who are, I always say, the culture carriers. You need to help them make that shift really fast. And you need to really get them there before you and they burn out, along the way. So I know it's quite a big commitment in a way. It's 3 days away from the office. And I want to make sure that you're absolutely certain this is the right next step for you and your managers and leaders, so that you can really feel comfortable about it before jumping into a commitment. So I invite you to book in a time, just 30 minutes, for a quick leadership discussion. We can do that while you're on a commute in the car or something like that. We can have a quick Zoom chat if you want to see me and have a chat to me, or maybe I'm at one of your head offices in the near future and we can collaborate and catch up there. But there's a link below to have a really quick 30-minute leadership discussion. I am not going to waste your time if I don't think it's relevant. As I said, best kind of numbers are to have 5 to 20 leaders. So you might even want to collaborate with one of your peers or senior execs who's looking to develop their managers as well. Or you might want to talk to your learning services or HR department and say, hey, what's on the horizon and could we slot this in for my managers and leaders? It becomes really quite affordable and economical when you're looking at more and more leaders. It's a flat fee, whether you have 5 leaders or whether you have 20. So I encourage you to collaborate and work with other departments, bring more people into the room. Let's chat about it during a quick 30-minute session. Let's see if I can help you with your middle managers and supervisors. I'd love to hear what's challenging you the most in your role and how you need them to step up and support you, because I want you to make sure this is the right thing. And I truly believe government can solve so many of the challenges that we as society have right now. And I know how hard government employees work. I've seen it and I've been one. And I really want to support you all in delivering what's best for your local area, for your state, for your country. And I really believe that the more we have engaged, fully embedded leaders, the quicker everyone will go and the much better outcomes for all. So thanks for your time listening to this video. I look forward to connecting.